it's Jeff here and welcome to my corner and welcome to Quick Tip Tuesday number 16. Today we're going to talk a little bit about making a diorama, about creating a base for your model. You know, we've all been there, our model is finished, we put a lot of work in it and we're not quite ready to put it on the shelf or to put it somewhere in our showcase. And I always felt that, how good your model looks by itself, it always pops out, it always gives it a little bit more dynamic when you put it into the right setting. And I also know that diorama making is for a lot of modelers still like walking through the twilight zone. They're not feeling really comfortable about doing it. It's a little bit intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Making a diorama, you can, with a couple simple, inexpensive ingredients, you can make it look very professional. And that's what we're going to show you in this quick tip. Now this quick tip is going to be in two parts. Today we're going to show you how to make it, or how to make it like a little vignette. And then next week we're going to show you how to paint it, weather it, and of course finish it. So if this is something that interests you, then you better keep watching. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. So what do we need to build a diorama or a small vignette? First of all, you have to come up with a plan. What kind of a vehicle are you going to put on there, and what kind of a scenery are you going to create? Now, for demo purposes, and for this case, I would like to create something around this 1/35 scale leaf from Tacom that I built a while ago. And I want to create something small, a small vignette, little snowscape with some snow, a winter diorama, and with a couple figures. So now already I have the size. I'm not gonna make it too big. I'm just gonna really contain it, just that the model is the focal point. So now I have the size. So now we're gonna look for a base that will fit the purpose. And when you go to an arts and crafts store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and you look in the wood section, you will come across these, and these are very inexpensive. Like I said, this comes from Hobby Lobby and I paid like $1.99. Sometimes you can even get it cheaper, but they stay between $2 and $3. Not really all that expensive, and it's really nicely finished. Now this is not really high quality wood, but it will work just fine. You just have to stain the sides, and then you have a perfect base to put your armor piece on there, just like this. Now what else is out there? Well, if you're familiar with hardwood floors, I've been putting hardwood floor up for a while now, and I have a lot of scrap. So if you know somebody who did that recently, try to check out if he has some, because hardwood floor, other than this, doesn't warp. Sometimes when you put your putty on there and you work on it with water paint or any other solution, over time when it dries, it might have the tendency to warp a little. Hardwood floor doesn't do that. It stays the way it is. And again, if you have some scraps, if you have a couple planks, that will get you a long way. So all you need to do is make sure that you cut those the sides off, because the sides, they have an interlocking system, and you have to make sure that those are removed before, of course, you start your diorama. Now, talking about hardwood floor samples, these I picked up at Home Depot and Lowe's. If you go to the hardwood floor section, sometimes they have some samples on display. Now that doesn't mean that you have to go over there and take everything they have. No, once in a while when you go to Home Depot and you go to the hardwood floor section, maybe you can pick up one or two and put them to good use. Now, especially when you're in the figure painting or making small vignettes, these work out fantastic. So it's another way to make something look professional without using any money. So last but not least, you can use ceramic tile, and they come in all sizes and shapes. They're not expensive. They sell them one piece at a time. I think I paid about 88 cents for this one and about $1.80 for this one. The good thing is they don't warp, and they come in all colors. So this is really nice to have. It's a little bit heavier than everything else, but it's inexpensive and it looks the look. So as far as bases, I think I got it pretty much covered. Now, of course, there is all kind of material out there. Sky is the limit, depending what you're doing or how far you want to take it. But to make a simple diorama to look very professional without spending any money, you should think in getting one of these. Now, what do we actually need to make our groundwork? Well, I like to work with pumice, and like in this case, it's the Vallejo coarse pumice. Now, what is pumice? Well, pumice is actually the sophisticated version of concrete patch, which you can find by the buckets in any hardware store. So what is the difference between this product and this product? While you get more bang for your buck, what is the difference? Honestly, there is not much difference except for the price. You pay almost double for this one than for this. Other than that, this is a little bit more refined. The grains are a little bit more smaller than this one, but they work both just the same. I use them both and I'm quite happy with that. So if you can't find this one, then you can easily go with the big bucket here. Now for demo purposes, I'm just going to use this one here because it's easier to move around. So, but anyway, there is hardly any difference except for the price, and this might be a little bit more refined. What else do we need? Well, we need some rocks, little stones from the yard to simulate some rocks. We need some cat litter. And the cat litter, I think we talked about in one of my previous tips and techniques or quick tip Tuesdays about diorama material. I would go for the cheapest cat litter that you can find, not for the perfumed one or the one that all look the same. No, this is the bottom of the line actually, cat litter. So that's the one you're looking for. Then a little bit of static grass, doesn't matter what color because we're gonna color it anyway. We need a cup of water. We need a couple of brushes. I would like to find one that was half the size, but I forgot to look, so this will do. Or you can just use an oversized paintbrush from your stash. And then last but not least, we need some masking tape. The masking tape is only to mask the base, so you don't have to use your Tamiya one or your more expensive one. Keep that for your models. This is just to cover up your groundwork. So, and that's basically it. That's all you need. And now you're ready to make your little groundwork or whatever you want to do. So for my diorama, I'm going to go with the hardwood, the piece of hardwood scrap that I have. So I'm going to put my Lee, I'm going to position my Lee like this. I'm going to create a little bit of a pathway, like a dirt road or something. And then on the corner here, maybe I'm going to go in a little bit of a slope, but I'm gonna add some rocks here just to create or simulate some sort of a rock formation. Eventually I'll put some cat litter here, and then later on when we're further down and we start painting it, we can always apply an extra, like maybe a branch or a dead tree. But for now, just to get the thing started, just to get everything in the basic shape, that's as far as I'm gonna go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna tape the edges of the base, and we do that because it always looks nicer when you have like a nice trim around it. It looks a lot nicer than just building your diorama all the way to the end. After we're done that, we're gonna paint this flat black all around, so it gives it a nice little finish. So, but for now, let's apply some of the tape. And it's basically like a half an inch or a quarter of an inch is more than enough. It's basically more than enough. So I think we're gonna go with just half an inch. So here we are. So we're ready to apply our groundwork, and we do this, of course, with the Vallejo coarse pumice. And that's where our cup of water comes in. Okay. So we start apply the pumice just on there. Like this. And try to spread it out a little bit all over the place. And it's very important to stay away from the edges, because if you go over the edges around it and you let it dry and you pull the paper back, the mask back, you're gonna risk of peeling some of the stuff off. So you always try to stay away from here, or come as close to the edge, but try to go as lightly around the edges and then work your way to the middle and build it up. Try to apply the pumice with the diorama in mind, the way that you're gonna put your tank on there. So And in this case, we're gonna keep it very, very simple. We're just gonna create a little bit of a road and a couple of like a little tiny rock formation. So like I said, try to stay away from the tape as good as you can, or at least make sure that you don't overlap the tape. Takes a little patience, but you have plenty of time. This thing doesn't really dry all that fast, so you don't have to rush it. And there we go. For now, let's put that out of the way. Now we can finalize it or make it a little bit more refined on the edges here by using a smaller brush. Now we rinsed the brush out a little bit, and now we're gonna try to smoothen up, try to take the sharp edges off on the sand or the pumice. So and that might take some time. That will take a couple minutes before you get all the edges off. You can use some water. That always helps. Just don't make it too soggy, because the more water you use, the longer it's going to take to dry. Now, since we're going to build a little rock formation here, I'm going to add some more of the groundwork just in this corner here. And then also on this side, because we want to create an effect like of a road, of a dirt road. So I'm gonna make it a little bit higher, or raise the area here a little bit. We're creating a little bit of a mount here. You can also have like a piece of styrofoam. And that might be a better idea. Just put a little corner of styrofoam and then work the pumice all around the styrofoam, so you already have a little bit of an elevation, and then you don't have to use a lot of this material. I actually should have done that, but it's okay for now. Now you can work this, or you can take this as far as you want. You can create some extra obstacles on there. But for my purpose, I just want to plant my tank on there and create some sort of a winter environment. So this will do fine. This is more meant as a display base more than a diorama base. So now I'm gonna put some rocks in there. As I said, it doesn't really matter. Maybe a couple on top. Maybe I'll do a few here. Just push it in there. And those things will come to life once we start painting. We start painting the vignette or the diorama. These will really come to life. Once you put your rocks there, always make sure that you work the ground around it, so it looks that they really are integrated into your work, into your groundwork actually. So now, the most important thing is to put your tank on there and try to and this is a little tricky, because you don't want to mess up the tracks, and this is very sticky. So you only have like maybe 1 or 2 chances to do this correctly. So always make sure that you already project what you want on your diorama, and then go from there. But always be very careful when you plant your tank on there, that you plant it where you want it, and that you don't have to reposition it too much. So I'm going to try to make an imprint like this. And if you have a couple spare tracks laying around, it's good to have that. I'll show you that in a minute. So now I know where I'm gonna put my tank. So I got some rubber tracks here that I'm gonna make imprints in there. A bit more. Doesn't really have to be correct, but it's good to make some. You try to recreate a path that already a couple tanks were in front of this one, or a couple vehicles were in front of this one, so you can give it just the impression that this road was already traveled before. Make a couple of tracks in there from wheeled vehicles. So I think I am where I want to be with this. Just work it until you're satisfied. Like I said, you can work on this as long as you want, as long as you keep it moist. There is always room for improvement. But I think I'm getting close to where I want it actually to be. And now I'm gonna sprinkle some cat litter on top of it. Starting with the rocks here. Good thing about cat litter is that whenever your groundwork is still moist, the cat litter will really embed itself into your groundwork. So maybe a couple in the middle here. Again, it doesn't have to be correct or perfect. A couple chunks maybe, a bit. And you can already see where I'm trying to take this. So now what we do is we take our cup of water and we soak actually the cat litter, so and that will secure it to your groundwork. You just have to gently touch it or just sprinkle the water on there, and the cat litter will absorb it, but it will also secure itself to your groundwork. Just have to be a little bit patient. Don't try to rush it. Like I said, you got plenty of time. The groundwork, it will take at least 24 hours, if not longer, to dry out, especially when you apply so much moist to it. Now that we applied the rocks and the cat litter, the last thing that we want to do is apply some of the static grass. So let's do this. We don't have to do too much, we just have to give the impression that there is a little bit of grass growing everywhere. Now we're gonna let it sit here for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're gonna peel the masking tape back, because if you don't do that and you forget about pulling the masking tape back, then you might end into a problem that the pumice is already set and hard, and then it probably will grab the masking tape and it will tear. So then you have tape that you're not going to be able to remove. So that might be a big problem. So you always have to make sure once you get this far and it's drying, that you wait just long enough that you can still safely peel the masking tape back without any problems. So now we're about 10-15 minutes later, and we are ready to remove the tape. And once we pull the tape back, we should have nice crisp lines. So here it goes. Just don't rush it, just really gently take the tape off, and there should not be any problem. And if you would run into a problem, if by any chance you got distracted and the pumice already basically got hard, you can always score it before before you really pull the tape away, you can always score it with an X-Acto or a scalpel and just make sure that you basically cut the tape free. But if you wait around 10-15 minutes, there should not be any problem. So, and there it is, all ready to be painted. Again, we're gonna let this sit for about 24 hours, 36 hours, depending. I got some other stuff I gotta do first, so I'm gonna let it hard out and then it will be ready to paint. Again, this is gonna be the second part of this video. Is next week in the Quick Tip Tuesday number 17. We're gonna paint this. But for now, I'm gonna leave it at that. Don't forget to like and share us on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And of course, most important, please visit our website at www.jeffycornerstore.com for at least to sign up or for all your further future purchases. But for now, I'm gonna leave it at that. Be safe out there, take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys next week, either for another Quick Tip Tuesday, maybe another post we make, and definitely on Sunday at 7 o'clock Central Time for our live. Jeffy here, signing off.